If you're listening to this, you're probably wondering what the hell was 75 hard and why is everybody doing this? Roll the intro. Welcome to another episode of the Common Podcast, where we speak upon common sense and realize it really isn't that common. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be speaking about 75 hard. People are referencing this as a challenge. It's actually not a challenge, it's actually a program. Why is that important? What does that mean? That means that it is specifically designed for a particular reason. Again, why is this important? Because if you're not coming to this program for that reason, it's not going to end well, and you're more than likely going to fail this program. And I think the terminology of failing is probably what alludes it to be confused as being a challenge. And I'll explain more as we get further into the discussion, but I think it's more prevalent. I think it's more wise to talk about what is prevalent in 75 hard, and probably why most of you are here is more of the visual appealing thing that attracts most people to this program, and that is the physical transformation side of 75 hard. This isn't a fitness program. So if you're coming to this program for the reason of transforming your body, you are going to fail. I want to make that very clear. This isn't a body transformation program. This is a program designed for your mind. It is designed to cultivate self-discipline, grit, and fortitude. I need to make that very clear. The body transformation will happen, but it's just merely a result of what happens to the mind. The mind changes, then the body will follow. I need to make that very clear because I think that people are going into 75 hard for the wrong reasons. So I needed to get that out of the way before I get into the meat and potatoes of what 75 hard actually is. And the reason why I'm making this podcast is because I recently have accomplished and have achieved 75 hard, if you will. And I lost 32 pounds, and obviously we get a bunch of people in the comments, in my DMs asking me, what did you do, and what's this whole 75 hard thing do? They're curious how I went from flabs to abs and things along those lines. And obviously they're coming just for the body transformation thing. So that is why I need to make it very clear. Another reason why I'm making this podcast is because a lot of people ask me, what exactly is 75 hard? And there's nothing on YouTube that I can link them or anything like that. So what I want to do with this discussion is kind of eliminate any confusion that people have if they want to accomplish 75 hard, if they want better mindset, self-discipline, grit, fortitude, all these things that come along with 75 hard. The body transformation is a result, so that does come along with it. So what is 75 hard? So before we continue on this discussion, I would like to let the listeners know that if you want to get in contact with me and if you want to engage, we usually do questionnaires and Q&As on our Instagram page. The handle is The Real Common Podcast. This podcast is also available on Spotify and YouTube, whatever is convenient for you. Let's get back to the discussion. 75 Hard is made by a man called Andy Frisella. He is the owner of First Form, and he actually has a podcast called Real AF Podcast. Very great podcast. Shout out to him for making this program. Before I continue, all credits go to him. He's the one that made this program. So 75 Hard is made up of 5 very simple tasks. Very simple. But they're compiled together, and that's what makes it very difficult. It's called 75 hard for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. It's not called 75 hard. It's not called 75 easy. This is going to be difficult. We need to make that very clear. The tasks are simple, but it requires deliberate attention, and that's actually another thing that makes it extremely difficult. If I can describe 75 hard in one word, it would be inconvenient. So I'm going to teach you all later on in this discussion some tips and strategies to go about it to try to make it as convenient as possible, because again, very simple task, but very inconvenient. So they're deliberate. Every task requires deliberate attention, meaning you cannot accidentally do a task. You have to actually formulate a plan on how you're going to do each one. You need to attack every single task in order to get it done as efficient as possible, because if not, it will catch up to you. So before I continue on to the task, the reason why it's called 75 hard is because the program is for 75 consecutive days. So you would need to accomplish these 5 tasks for 75 days. If you mess up anywhere along the lines, any little mess up within these tasks, you have to start over back at day 1. No excuses. Does not matter if you're a parent, you have a difficult job, whatever it is, there is no compromise. That is part of the program. No compromise. You need to get every single task done. If not, go back to 1. So that is why it is very important that you know what you're going to get yourself into, because this can this will make or break you. Believe me, because if I had a couple of acquaintances that have failed and it doesn't feel too good. So I want to make that very known. So here are your 5 very simple but very deliberate tasks. I'm going to start them off from quote unquote simple, meaning they don't take that much explanation, to a little bit more in-depth tasks. I'm going to list them and I'm going to go through them more in depth. That way I can try to eliminate all confusion going into these tasks. So task number 1, drink 1 gallon a day. Very simple. 1 gallon of water a day, not 1 ounce less, not a cup less. It has to be 1 gallon a day. Task number 2, take a revealing picture every single day. This is huge. A lot of people try to overlook it and say that it's easy. It is not. Essentially, metaphorically speaking, what you're doing is that you're having to face yourself every single day by taking a picture, looking yourself in the mirror, facing your demons eye to eye. This is a huge psychological component to the program. Do not skip this task. I mean, if you skip it, you have to start all over, right? But I'm just saying it's a huge psychological proponent to the whole program. So very important. Task number 3, read 10 pages of a non-fictional book. I would very well, it might even be a rule too, to read a self-development book. You're going to want to try to build your character as much as possible during this program. A book that I read, and I'll leave the recommendations towards the end. Read 10 pages of a non-fictional book every single day. Okay? Not 9, not 7, not 5. 10 pages. Or not, you start all over. Task number 4, pick a diet. Stick on that diet for 75 days. No cheat meals or alcohol. The no cheat meals and the alcohol is intertwined with pick a diet. Now, the diet does not have to be a specific diet. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Task number 5, 2 45-minute workouts a day. One of them has to be outside. So, what do I mean by simple tasks? Some of you are probably thinking, those tasks don't seem too simple. But if we were to separate the task into individual tasks themselves, drink 1 gallon of water a day, that doesn't seem too hard, right? I can handle 1 gallon of water a day if that was the only thing I had to do throughout the day. That doesn't seem too hard. Take a picture a day, that doesn't seem too hard. Read 10 pages. If all I had to do in a day was read 10 pages, that doesn't seem too hard either. Pick a diet. For some of you, that might be a little bit more difficult. I'll speak more a little bit on that. But nonetheless, a diet, eating correctly, that doesn't seem too hard either. If that's the only thing I have to focus on. 2 45-minute workouts, that's about an hour and 30. Doesn't seem too hard either. So what makes it so damn hard? It's the fact that they're compiled together and you have to deliberately handle every single task and plan out your day for 75 straight days and get all tasks done. So let's walk through more of the inconvenient side of every single task and more in depth and kind of like the rules set into every single tasks. Again, starting off from the top, which don't require much explanation, but drink a gallon of water a day. Personally, this was a huge inconvenience for me. If you have a job or throughout your day you're on the go, just beware you're going to be having to use the restroom a lot. So for me, it was about an hour. Every single hour I had to go to the restroom. And so it's going to just make sure you have a restroom nearby or something, because you're going to be having to use the restroom. And I'm also going to talk later on this topic about if I would recommend this program to everybody. And little disclaimer: the answer is no. Okay, so task number 2: take a revealing picture every single day. Like I mentioned when I was listing the tasks, huge proponent in the program. The whole psychological. In the beginning, it's hard. Believe me, it is hard to look yourself every day in the mirror. It's also sometimes inconvenient because it is such a simple task that sometimes you overlook. Do not overlook it. It is very important. What I would recommend everybody do the first thing in the morning, that's what you should do. Take a progress picture or take a revealing picture every single day as soon as you wake up, for a couple of reasons. One, you get it out of the way, and just eliminating a task off the bucket list is already an accomplishment on its own, and you get to see that check mark. By the way, guys, there's an app for 75 Hard. I recommend you download it. It makes your life a whole lot easier. It's only like $5. So you get a little check mark done, right, on a task, right? So mentally, that helps you out. But not only that, you have a consistency in taking a picture. You don't want to be taking a picture in the morning, then another day in the afternoon. What that does is your body will fluctuate, not only in body weight, but water weight, and all these different things come into factor. How many meals you've had throughout the day, how much water you drink throughout the day. Every single day that you wake up, that should be the first thing you do. Just take a progress picture, get it out of the way. A lot of these things you're going to want to attack as soon as you can. Believe me. Read 10 pages of a non-fictional book. I would recommend a self-development book. So the 10 pages you definitely do not want to leave towards the end. That was my personal experience. That was something that I wanted to do before bed. Believe me, guys, you're going to be exhausted, especially the further you go on to 75 Hard. I would recommend try to do this in the middle of your day or in the beginning of the day if you can. Get those 10 pages out of the way. It is also when you're the most sharpest, is in the beginning of the day. So if you're able to read these 10 pages as early as possible, do so, because you don't want to be stuck like me at 10 or 11 p.m. falling asleep reading the 10 pages. It is a hassle if you do it that way. But reading 10 pages a day did so much for me, just in the self-development side of the program. It did so much for me. The benefits of reading, sitting down and actually reading a book, not doing the audio is not allowed, but sitting down and reading a book I think the thing that I took from it most was actually sitting down, slowing the day down, slowing everything down, and actually reading. It did so much for me. It helped me appreciate just everything. And it allowed me to think in a world where we see 15 to 10 second videos just flashing before our screens. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, you need this. And it was one thing that I held on to after accomplishing 75 Hard. Okay, so task number 4, pick a diet and stick on a diet. No cheat meals, no alcohol. So Andy Frisella, the creator of 75 Hard, says that he is not going to put you on a diet plan. So, I mean, that could be good and that could be bad. A lot of people try to sneak their way out of this, and they end up creating their own type of cheat meals. They count macros and they do this, they do that. Be smart. with the diet that you choose, be sure that you're able to attain the diet for 75 days. Some people do keto and they're not able to go this whole 75 days. I would recommend a balanced diet. Count your calories, count your macros if that's something you want to do. I stuck with the calorie counting. But if you're doing the calorie counting, I warn you, one thing that's not allowed is that you cannot fast all day and then have one big cheat meal that defeats the purpose. No, you have to be precise and you have to plan your day in order for you to be doing, again, no cheat meals. So, make sure that you're eating good and you pick a diet that you are going to be able to sustain for 75 days. For me, personally, this was actually one of the easier things because it actually is more convenient for me personally to know exactly what I'm going to eat every single day. I simply just told my wife, make me the same thing every single day. I want egg whites, spinach, and turkey bacon for breakfast, chicken, broccoli, and rice for dinner and lunch. And that's what I stuck to. That was easy for me. I know for some people, this might be the side that's a little bit more difficult, the task that's a little bit more difficult. But make it simple for you guys. That more options makes it more complicated. Just letting you know right now. So the next one, the last task is 2 45-minute workouts a day. One of them outside. So 2 45-minute workouts, it's just huge inconvenience. This task in itself is just okay. So one thing that I do have to mention is that you cannot do these workouts back to back. So it's not like you can do 45 minutes. You can't do an hour and 30 minutes and say, oh, well, I'm done. I don't need to, I'm done with my 2 45-minute workouts. You cannot do that. You have to wait a couple of hours in between the workouts. And remember, one of them has to be outside. So that means, again, you have to be deliberate. You have to plan out your day. Okay, when am I going to do my first workout? Maybe before work and then do another one after work. You have to be able to space out these workouts and then, again, one outside. The one thing that I do love about the outside workout and what I take from it psychologically is doesn't matter the weather. You have to do one outside. And metaphorically speaking, if there's a storm outside, well, guess what? You have to weather the storm regardless in order to complete the task. You have to face the storm head on. And in life, again, metaphorically speaking, you're going to have storms hit you. And sometimes you just have to walk through the storm and you have to deal with it. And that is what I took from this task and what I think is so beneficial. And that's what builds that grit and fortitude that this program is meant to build. So those are your 5 tasks. I'm very curious as to if any of the listeners right now are actually considering doing 75 hard. I will say a couple of things that 75 hard, although I enjoyed it and although I think it was very beneficial in my life, and especially in the time where I was lacking discipline and I needed something to keep me accountable. I had kind of fell off on the discipline side. I would not recommend this to everybody, okay? And for the mass majority, I will say that. But there are some people that I would not personally, and that is elite athletes and people who are already very sharp on discipline because it is inconvenient. If you lack discipline, if you lack grip, if you lack fortitude, which is most of the people out there, this program is for you. If not, don't do it because you will fail. So there y'all have it, 75 hard. Let me know if y'all are considering doing the program. With this discussion, I hope that I attacked and I tackled every single question that is out there. I try to handle majority of the DMs that I got pertaining to 75 hard. Hopefully I eliminated all those questions, but if I didn't, you can definitely DM me and I will try to do my best to reply, or if not, leave it down in the comment section. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. If you're listening on YouTube and if it's more convenient for you, the podcast is also available on Spotify. Same thing goes vice versa. If you're listening on Spotify and you want to see a visual, there is a video side of the podcast on YouTube, also called The Common Podcast. If you want to engage, I usually do Q&As and questionnaires live on the podcast, and you can find that through Instagram, which the Instagram handle is The Real Common Podcast. Thank you all so much, and until next time, we'll catch y'all later.